Welcome, folks, to my Combat Channel News. We're here on a Friday night for more of what we give you during the week and hope you like. I'm the Yak Man, Ryan Yakovetti, and he is...
Fabiano Iha, the king of the armbar.
That is who he is. And oh, jeez.
Just in case if you don't know what armbar means.
Yeah, I remember. So...
You can start the show now.
So we start tonight with the injury train. I may be added to that list now, thanks to you. Going outside of the octagon and bleeding on over into the Strikeforce cage. Frank Mir out. And then an event called on the count of rain. Yeah, we're not talking baseball. This is still mixed martial arts. And then we have a couple other things with some fighters that are going to be making appearances, talking about a rematch possibility. And at the end, classics from the history of MMA, as well as the top 10.
So Frank Mir is out from Strikeforce main event. This time is not because of a motorcycle accident that he has before. He hurt himself training.
Right.
It's the bad luck still going around. Let's see what this video says. Like, oh, there's video from Frank Mir,
right,
and highlights from Frank Mir.
He's a guy that I've always felt should have been, or at least could be, more dominant in the heavyweight division, because he's got ground skills that are really not paralleled by many other guys for a big man. His striking has gotten dramatically better. He hits hard. He never has cardio issues really that plague him. I see him as the prototype for a heavyweight champion in MMA, but for some reason,
He kind of like lost for a little while, and I spoke with him. I did an interview with him that I'm kind of gonna roll that interview next week. I like Frank. His ground, he'll move on the ground like a lightweight. That's what I like about him. He got much better when he proved himself when he submit Nogueira. That was, for me, it was amazing. So anyway. Fighters getting hurt, and that's the way it is. And unfortunately, it does not only happen with UFC fighters.
Right.
That Strikeforce, even if UFC owns the Strikeforce as well.
Yeah,
there you
it's
go.
still one of their properties. It's still affecting their bottom line. And then that was the first big crossover where you had a guy who was plucked out of the UFC for the first time, goes over to Strikeforce, and then boom, now you have no event.
But we do have some pictures that we want to show about what UFC been doing now to prevent this bad luck happen.
So they have an idea why it's happening.
So the octagon is right there. You see the door of the octagon. So let's see the next picture that we see close. There we go.
See that.
That's it.
That's it. I have no idea. But that.
There you go.
That. Okay.
That's to prevent. And look her. That's why she doesn't get hurt. She has protection as well.
I actually got the same thing off the Home Shopping Club.
Anyway, folks, not talking about only fighters getting hurt. How about the whole entire organization get canceled?
Yeah, they get hurt bad. Apparently, Titan Fighting Championships gets called off because the weather called for some severe rains, and apparently this was not an indoor event. So the promotion decided to postpone.
And if you guys not familiar with their organization, they do a very good shows. They have very good ex-UFC fighters in present. Some the guys that just left UFC joined their organization, and they decided to do outside. And the funny part is, outside they got more tickets sold on that than indoors. Maybe because summertime, probably. And then you deal with the whole raining, the whole problem. So the show is canceled, and they have scheduled to, I believe, throw the same show indoors now.
Indoors?
Yes.
What are the odds that they do the thing indoors and during the event somebody triggers a sprinkler and it gets rained out inside?
That can happen.
It could happen.
Anyway, James Pulver.
Little Evil himself, yep.
Back again. James has a 4 years, very bad 4 years, from 2006 to 2010. He got 8 losses on the road.
Yeah.
I always like him. He's a very powerful puncher, and I fought a couple times on the same card as him. And again, I'm happy, that he's coming back. He's coming back strong now.
He's a heavy-handed guy, no question. He's always a very talented and well-rounded fighter. A great commentator, too. I got to call a bunch of shows with him up in the Seattle area. where oddly enough, they also try to do outdoor events, and they could get rained out too. But he's a very talented guy. I'm not sure if he parts ways with his management as far as opinions on whether or not he should continue to fight. He obviously still wants to. I'm not sure if they would rather him just continue his broadcast career. But nonetheless, you know, when you're that tough and skilled a fighter, he's not looking to go away if he doesn't have to. And if he can put a win streak together, then clearly he doesn't have to.
He's 37 years old, and he has 26 wins, 17 losses, so a lot of fights in his career. And his opponent is not a joke. His opponent has wins against Humiro Sato and Royler Gracie. We talk about Ueda.
Yeah. Is Ueda a bad fight for this stage of his career for Pulver? Or is that a great move because if he pulls off the win, his stock as a fighter who can stay in the mix, maybe run for a title in another organization, goes up?
Ueda has a very good, strong submission, and that's what I think always being James Pulver's weakness is the ground game. He's a good wrestler, good puncher, but his ground game is not that good. So age-wise, 37 years old against let's see, Ueda is 34. So difference to age is not that much. It's just because he's Japanese doesn't show too much. You know how that goes. So interest fight. Don't miss that fight, folks. It's gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be either knockout or submission.
Yeah, I mean, again, Pulver, great sprawl and brawl guy, but you know, you said that the thing that could do him in would be knowing how to do stuff on the ground. The armbar.
Should put armbar.
That's what I'm talking about.
Anytime.
We'll be right back.
There. He suffer. You're not. We come to the next block.
Damn it. Welcome back again, folks, to My Combat Channel News. Now we're going to talk about a rematch that we would love to see, though I'm not sure if it really should happen. Something new north of the border, and a fighter looking to join the ranks of the best in the history.
Believe me, even for me, that I'm Brazilian, it's very hard to say his name. Zorobabel Moreira. That's the guy that is a new kid from Brazil. He's fighting on the next
One FC.
Yes. And he's fighting for the lightweight belt. And basically, what he's trying to do is trying to win that belt and become one of the Brazilian stars like Anderson Silva and all the crowd.
Jose Aldo,
all the Brazilian that Junior dos Santos.
Right.
All the guys that hold the belt now. Even if he's going to hold the belt in a different organization, it's not a UFC organization, but Once FC is also a very recognized association. So
it is, but will that ultimately hurt him to be in an organization other than the UFC looking for greatness? That seemed to be the one thing that eluded Fedor. For a period of time, MMA fans would regard him as one of the best, but the one thing you could say was, well, the best were in the UFC. Mm-hmm. He's not in the UFC, so is he really the best? And then when he gets the opportunity to fight some of these guys, he doesn't win, like with Verdum.
I disagree on point that when people think the best fighter is the one that hold the belts in the UFC, I completely disagree on that, and that was proved from before. That was proved from the time that Pride used to exist, and the best fighters used to belong to Pride. There was no doubt about that. And then the UFC decides to buy Pride so he could take over all the fighters.
Right.
So
they
good fighters is all over the place.
Right.
Okay. Some UFC have the hands on. Some the other organization have the hands on. They sign a long time contract. So, and I don't know why. That happened to me, happened to everybody. Everybody have that dream of wants to fight in the UFC,
right,
and become one of the champions from their organization. So
it's the premier brand. So I mean, everybody's goal, everybody's pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is to get to the UFC. Moreira, a great record too. I mean, he's got one loss that's KO, but his wins are 43% submission, 43% knockout, and only 14% decision. That numerically is well-rounded.
Not only that, that proves that he's a good guy to watch. Like it's entertainment. So anyway, we move forward. We move to a Canadian show called Maximum that now is gonna start to have drug test.
Right, the Maximum Fighting Championship,
Maximum
MFC,
in
from Canada. They're based out of Edmonton. They put on a great show. Their eccentric president, not shy to the camera. You can hear him speak out a lot of times, and trying to do things right, trying to be the biggest entity up there. And so now they're going to have 6 guys per card randomly tested for drugs on every card, and if either combatant in a title fight doesn't make weight, and this is unprecedented even like in boxing, that title's still on the line.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way they're going. I really like that. Again, it's a sport now. That's the way it should be anyway. If it was just a fight, you could do what else. Like Pride back in the days, it was very clear that a lot of the fighters used to use steroids, and then when they come to US, because Pride was bought out by UFC, and they came to US, you very clear. You notice how much they hurt some of the fighters.
Yeah.
We don't need to bring names up.
No.
And they used to be very dominate, strong in Pride, and when they came to the UFC, they used the octagon as
what did it?
No,
as a scapegoat?
As a scape for the whole thing. Say, oh, we're not used to octagon. No. You're not used to fight without any
drugs.
Extra, testosterone in your body.
Performance enhancement. Yeah, no question. There's a reason those things are banned. They actually do work, and so they're going to test 6 people randomly. And the first outcry with that is going to be when somebody comes in and they look like the Hulk compared to their last fight, and they're not one of the 6. When it's blatant to anybody with vision that that person's obviously doing something, and that's not one of the 6 randoms, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be the first complaint in Canada with your free healthcare and stuff. Mark my words on that one.
And again, guys, we're trying to become an Olympic sport, and that's exactly the way you should go.
Yeah.
So, good job, guys.
Yeah, again, MFC, a great show. One of our own local friends, Antonio Mycc, lightweight champion for the MFC for quite a while. So, absolutely an organization to support and watch.
Another good point is Rashad Evans against John Jones, number 2. That can happen.
Is that where it's at right now? Is it just it can happen? Because I would first start with, and you could probably answer this better than I, a why happen. The first fight to me didn't leave a lot of unanswered questions. Clearly 2 top-level guys, 2 entertaining guys, but I didn't walk away from the first one going, wow, what if something was different? It would seem pretty clear that we would see possibly the same blueprint if they did it again.
Well, and everybody knows very clear, they used to train each other, they used to know each other, and if you're a fighter and you know that you're going to fight your training partner, you pretty much know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that doesn't change. So I don't look forward to that. Right. I think it's a way more people line up, and who knows? Maybe John Jones not even gonna be there holding the title. That's on Vitor's hands.
Yeah, this is true. And you know what? And that's something that I've been wrong about before too. The first Melendez-Josh Thompson fight in Strikeforce didn't really leave any room for why would you want to watch the next one? Yet the next one was amazing, and it went completely the other direction. So I think, Jones-Evans didn't look like, what's left to see. We think we saw it all.
Yeah, we saw it all.
But I mean, Rashad clearly hits hard enough, skilled enough that he could catch Jones on a bad day or on one of his good days, or just, and then put him away, and then boom, then then I'm shut up. Then there's your fight, and that's why they have it.
I'm agree, and again, it's a way more other opponents that he can go through before go back to Rashad. Okay, and the good part is we got a very interesting next segment. We're gonna go on the little history of MMA. 2 fighters that I personally like a lot, and it was not for him. One particular one. If it was not for him, we're not even be sitting here talking right now.
Yeah.
And that guy is Royce Gracie.
Yep.
That's the man that started the whole thing somehow. So we're coming right back.
The history and the top 10. I am a glutton for punishment, aren't I? We'll be back for more. I'll have both my arms. You'll be here. See you in a minute. More. Welcome back, folks. We're still here. Hopefully you are too. We're talking to an empty household who left their TV on when they went out to dinner.
And before we start this whole history of MMA, let's say you're at home right now. and you're watching the show, and your boyfriend is the one dragging you into this show, and you want to piss him off a little bit, I give you a very good opportunity to do that. You can Facebook or you can email us on the website, My Comeback Channel website or Facebook, and you can become the girl that are gonna introduce the top 10 the next week.
You see that?
So now, when your boyfriend turns the TV to see us, he's gonna see you. Here you go. Here we go, guys and girls. Let's go to the history of MMA. Two guys that I love a lot, Rickson Gracie and
Royce Gracie.
Royce Gracie, of course.
Royce Gracie, who really was one of the people who put the sport on the map with his literally bare hands.
That's Rickson right there.
Way back in the day.
Walking into his fight in Japan on Pride. So Rickson, if you're at home, you don't know too much about Rickson. Rickson is undefeated, legend in Brazil, legend in Japan. I'm talking about a guy that every single jiu-jitsu guy in Brazil, every single jiu-jitsu guy in Japan, and should be around the world, should know what name Rickson Gracie means. Okay, we talk about on the beginning of the sport in Brazil. He's the one that stepped in the ring and he proved that jiu-jitsu was the best martial art in that time, and combined in these days, of course.
Right.
It
is a huge factor in MMA now. Some argue that initially in that stage of MMA that jiu-jitsu took a lot of people off guard who didn't know how to deal with it and how to handle it, but once fighters became acclimated to it and learned how to stuff takedowns and keep themselves on the feet, that they were able to start neutralizing, what it could do. And then there's the old strikers adage, every time you hit a black belt, he goes down a belt. You hit a brown belt, he goes down a belt. So, but clearly, at this point in time, they were making history.
Oh yeah,
doing what hadn't been done.
And Royce Gracie, what I can tell about this guy is 170 pounds, 6 foot tall, very skinny guy.
Yep.
That used to walk into the ring with gi. Not only to use the gi, but to not show how skinny he used to be. And be able to fight 3 fights in one night and submission after submission, and become the UFC champion, the first one in the tournament, and prove all over the world that jiu-jitsu was one of the best forms until that time.
You know how in boxing people will say, Sugar Ray Robinson or Muhammad Ali, there's nobody really who could do what they did then, now, and blah, 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 right? Is there anybody, is what Royce did then, is there anybody who could pull that off now, or is what he did so in his time and so rare?
No, because in that time, people, his opponent have no idea what jiu-jitsu used to be. Now everybody train. So anyway, better than that, what we got?
So yes, what we have coming up next, it involves counting, numbers, girls in bikinis, statistics, records, graphics, all that kind of stuff. And one of those rare popular moments when you don't have to be looking at us for any extended period of time. The top 10.
With Erin Gales, heavyweight.
I'm Erin Gales, and this is your top 10 heavyweight division. Number 10, Travis Brown. Number 9 is Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. Number 8, Josh Barnett. Number 7, Shane Carwin. Number 6, Frank Mir. Number 5, Daniel Cormier. And number 4 is Fabricio Verdum. Number 3 is Alistair Overeem. Number 2, Cain Velasquez. And number 1, Junior Dos Santos. My name is Erin Gales, and that was the top 10 heavyweight division.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how you do the top 10.
The fact that that segment isn't the whole show is what bothers me.
Yeah, it could be. I'm thinking about, I've been writing for the producer to see if they can maybe have you do the top 10 and have her sitting here.
That might be bad. That might be bad.
Not gonna be
I'm
great.
not sure I can pull off the bikini quite as well as she does, but I'm willing to try because I'm a dedicated MMA personality.
We don't want to see
No,
that.
well, I don't even want to see that. All right, so I mean, just to recap some stuff real fast that we had on tonight's show. Jones Evans, real quick. Want to see it? Not want to see it?
I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it either. 1FC Jens Pulver extended, or is his
Thumbs
career
up.
still going? All right, that's still we like that one. Titan fighting, perhaps a tent. You stay outdoors. You don't have to cancel everything, huh? Cover the show, and again, Frank Mir in Strikeforce. We're gonna see it.
We're gonna see him back for sure. I love Frank Mir. I think he should be back. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching us the whole week. Sorry to bother you too much. We can recap the whole show on the weekend.
We can do that. On the weekends, we can recap. On the nights we're not here, we'll just cap and then recap after it's been capped. And that's it.
And you can also see the videos on the YouTube or Facebook. So have a good weekend, and I see you guys next week.